Hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to Funnel TV for a new episode of an incredible topic. We will discuss today about ancillary revenue and try to, remark the great job of Pablo Torres, who wrote this amazing book. Actually, welcome and good afternoon, Pablo.
Hi, good afternoon. So, how are you?
Very good. Just waiting, for long to start this live streaming today. I think it's going to be a very insightful conversation. We have discussed, me and Pablo, to plan this live streaming, how to set up with many speakers, and at the end of the day, the idea was to organize two different panels. So today we will discuss two topics, always related to ancillary revenue, of course. One is ancillary revenue unlocking untapped potential, and the other one is how tech can help you boost your ancillary revenue. So in each panel we have different guests, right? Pablo, you want to tell us a little bit more about your book before we start?
Yeah, actually, the guests are here because they wrote part of the book. So, they are co-authors. Let's put it like that. So, we were meant to have Per Estela, which couldn't make it finally today. But he wrote the foreword of the book, and then we have Eric Tengen, CEO and co-founder of Oki, who also wrote part of the book, and Nadine Meissner, who is, let me read it from the book, Senior Manager Corporate Strategy at the Lufthansa Group. She's an expert on ancillary revenue as well, and also the three panelists on the second panel. We're going to have Benjamin De Bismu, who is the co-founder and chief revenue VP of sales, sorry, Quick Text, with one of the most advanced technologically speaking chatbots. We're going to say more about that. We're going to have Guillermo from Hotel Verse as well, and we'll have Alessio Di Gaetano, co-founder and CEO of Dynamite. So each of them experts on the different areas, all together part of the ancillary revenue industry in tourism. So as you said, two different panels. One focused more on how to drive more ancillary revenue from airline hotel point of view, and then later on focusing on the tech side of ancillary revenue. Yeah.
But most importantly, Pablo, is your book already the bestseller category or?
Well, it was on the top, to be honest. Yeah, the English version went out in October in Amazon, and it was on the top 6 on the first week on the most sold books on the segment. And then Spanish one, just checked the other day, came out a couple of weeks ago, and it was top 3 in terms of new books, new arrivals, and top 6 on economy books. So pretty happy, yeah.
Fantastic. I'm still waiting to receive your Spanish version, and maybe what you can do, Paulo, if you can share in the comment space of this event page where people can buy the English or Spanish version. So maybe you can share the links there, and people can easily reach out to. Anyway, so let's look at the first session. I will share with you a quick teaser, and then we start. See you later.
So here we are again. Thank you, Enzo, again. And on screen, Eric Tengen, co-founder and CEO of Oki, as I was saying earlier, Nadine Meissner for Lufthansa Group. Sorry, your title is really long. Senior Manager Corporate Strategy. Thanks. Thank you both of you, and good afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Great to be here.
And so again, thank you for...
Congrats with the book, man. I didn't know it had such success. We will see you driving around in a Lamborghini in a couple of weeks.
I think so. But thanks for the congratulations. So as I was saying, co-authors of the book, and I want to split this. So first of all, thank you, of course, for writing some nice articles for the book, nice pieces. And since you know that much about ancillary, and that's the whole point of this webinar, split it into parts, speak about revenue and how much can ancillary drive the overall revenue of businesses. And Nadine, I'll start with you because airline industry, you are the masters of ancillary, and depends on where you look. Some legacy airlines were seen the other day on a event that we attended in Mallorca with Eric as well and Guillermo last week. Some of them say 15%, some of them up to 50% in terms of ancillary revenue. In your case, from your Lufthansa, let's say, point of view, how can these strategies, or what can be done from the airline point of view that could be maybe relevant to the hospitality industry?
Mm-hmm. So I think, first of all, it's quite important to understand that ancillaries are driving a lot of the revenue within the airline industry. So what we have seen with the rise of low-cost airlines, that at the end we have the unbundling of the product that happened in order to, first of all, to compete, and secondly, to be able to actually personalize products even more, to see, what's flight related, what is non-flight related. And what has happened over the last couple of years is that a lot of dynamic pricing happened in terms of, unbundling, or at the end, driving the ancillary revenue through dynamic pricing. And the last aspect that airlines do a lot is driving innovative products with ancillaries, also reacting to new topics that are coming up, such as during the COVID crisis. So what do hotels actually learn right now is that on one side, unbundling, which I think started to happen in the hospitality industry. And the second aspect, I think, which needs to happen even stronger, is the dynamic pricing of it. So how can you adjust it to seasonality, day of week? I mean, there are different aspects to it, how you can actually make sure that you adapt it to the demand.
Okay, so I'm taking notes. I'm learning here.
Fantastic.
Unbundling dynamic pricing linked to seasonality, because dynamic pricing is being done for a number of years when it comes to rooms, but not that much to ancillary and other services. So it's a very, very good point. Eric, talking about ancillary and dynamic pricing, which is something that's done by Oki. In your case, specializing from the Oki point of view in upselling, can you share some maybe specific types of ancillaries that can respond to link to the platform? Like how can those strategies be personalized to increase the conversion for customers?
Yeah, so what we see from the hotel industry, and this is from thousands of hotels across almost every country in the world, is that it first and foremost comes down to what is the guest going to care about, and that can differ very greatly depending on the type of hotel that this guest is staying in, or the need, the purpose that this guest has for travel, be it for leisure, pleasure, private, or what have you. But taking all of that aside, and we have a database of more than 8,000 types of upsell offers that have been sold to guests. But there are only like a couple of deals that make up the bulk of the revenue. The 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, very much true within hotel upselling as it is for anything else. So when you think about the deals that any hotel should focus on first and foremost in order to drive the bulk of their upsell revenue, it's always, and this has not changed over the past 10 years, room upgrades, early check-in and late checkout. That makes up the the upsells that have the highest profit margin. And then typically we see that constitute 50% of the upsell revenue for a hotel if they're following like the Oki playbook of how to upsell. And then all of the rest is ancillary revenue, typically made up out of a couple of deals within breakfast, F&B, parking, and spa. And those deals, like 5-6 deals, typically make up 80% of the overall revenue in a hotel. So that's what I would always look at first. And we might talk about later what's in it for the future, and where you can really stand out as a hotel, I think, is when you take your upselling further than those kind of standard deals. But if I was a hotelier thinking about how to maximize ancillary revenue today, my first starting point would always be looking at those deals that we know for a fact will drive the bulk of the revenue, optimize the setup for those specific deals first, and then take it further. And there are many ways that you can do this. So our vision as a company is the perfect upsell every time. And there are a couple of variables that dictate whether or not an upsell is indeed perfect. It's the content that is delivered, is when do you upsell it in terms of time, which can be both related to time after, for example, a booking has been made, because when you book something, you might not be inclined to spend a lot more money than you had it intended to, but a few days pass and you already forget about the money that you had initially spent on your trip. The price itself, of course, Nadine talked about dynamic pricing, makes a huge impact, and also combining upselling strategy where your overall revenue strategy as a hotel can really make a massive difference whether you fail your budget or you over exceed it. behavioral science and psychology is an aspect that I'm very passionate about, and I think is generally very underutilized within hospitality in terms of how you can couple or just display different types of upsell offers and drive conversion rate as a result of that. Happy to go into some examples later if you like. And then, of course, also the stage of the guest journey. So you would typically have the stage when you book in the booking engine, then you have the pre-arrival phase, then you have the front desk or the check-in phase, or your online check-in, or your checking in via kiosk. All of these are touch points and opportunities to add value. And then, of course, during the hotel stay, which can come in many shapes and forms. And it's like by looking at that total journey and looking at how do I proactively add value to my guests in selling anything and everything, that's kind of how it starts. And I'm happy to talk more about how you can further optimize each and every one of these deals.
Thanks a lot, Eric. I was taking notes there as well. So Pareto principle, selling throughout the customer journey, and the behavioral science. I'd like to hear more about that later on. Thanks. Nadim, back to you. I mean, you're on this corporate role you mentioned earlier, post-pandemic, a lot of unbundling going on the industry. But from your corporate strategic point of view, are there any trends that you see emerging maybe on the customer behavior on the last few months or a couple of years that you see that impacting the airline industry that maybe in the future might be going to hospitality to hotels?
Mm-hmm. So I think, first of all, the biggest trend that we see is that technology plays an even more important role than ever in the space of ancillaries. So it's about making it as seamless as possible, and as well as utilizing the data to create products that really suit to the customer needs at every particular touch point that the customer has, for example, with the airline, or for example, in your case, with the hospitality industry. So that is driving a big chunk, as well as the question around disruptions, right? So what happens, for example, if we have an aircraft change and maybe the seats that has been there are not available? So somehow you need to provide very easily a refund or a rebooking option, making, at the end, the product as great to the customer as possible, so that at the end the customer really is incentivized to book it. So on one side, it's really making sure that you have or use the technology in terms of customizing it, and on the other hand, as well as enabling it so that it's smooth despite disruptions or any issues. The second aspect that we see quite a lot, and Lufthansa Group is quite advanced in it, is the aspect around sustainability. And I think this is a great factor. So we introduced, for example, green fares, which is a bundle where basically offsetting the CO2 footprint or incorporating already sustainable aviation fuel into the ticket price. So that at the end, the question around how are ancillary really taking the aspect of sustainability into consideration. So I think that is a big learning, that's something that can be used as an insight. And I would say the last aspect is around experiencing it. So how can you actually, and we have it as well, we have 3 big ancillaries, which make right now the major share of the revenue, of the ancillary revenue. So the question is, how can you actually expand on the other type of services? Of course, there's a lot of potential to create and improve the travel experience by enabling better access in terms of lounge or any other type of facilities along the journey, which, is on one side a benefit to the customer, just not taking it away, as often ancillaries are seen in the industry, but it rather gives you more opportunity to choose from based on what you need. For example, if I want to do a co-working space at the, I need to work, and there are co-working spaces at the airport that would help me, for example, to do my calls or to be productive in the meantime I'm waiting for my flight to continue. So I think these are the 3 aspects which I would suggest to look further into to see what can be taken out of it. Oh, wait, you're on mute.
Sorry, I was recapping. I was taking notes. So you mentioned sustainability and the green fairs that you launched for the footprint, the experience for the customer throughout the customer journey, and then the launch is called working experience, which is pretty interesting. I never thought about that from the airline point of view. And you mentioned, I mean, going to sustainability. I think offsetting your footprint is great option, obviously. And then, which could be in a way similar, translated to hotels, is when you put the do not disturb, say, no, I don't need my room being serviced today, which can be just as simple as that. Or, for example, through Oki, one of the deals is to you can plant a tree, I believe, one of the partners, right? And then so you cover your sustainability part of during the stay, and also it's beneficial for the environment. Personalization, Eric, is one of the buzzwords in the industry. It's a lot about the entire customer journey, personalization. How are you doing from the Oka point of view in terms of personalizing the customer experience?
Yeah, I think it starts with delivering the right deal to the right guest. And the easiest way for someone to do that utilizing technology would be by crafting segments based on the guests that you have. And that can be as detailed as a loyalty tier, a length of stay, a booking source, whether there's a child in the booking, you display family deals. If it's a one-person booking during the day or the week, it's typically a business traveler. So you can typically, without knowing actually any data about a guest that have stayed with you before, if you have enough data like we do, you can pretty accurately forecast what is likely to be basically meeting the needs of this type of traveler, based on comparing the information that we have about that guest with what has converted with similar type of booking variables in the past. So that's around the segmentation. So imagine that you start simple and you create 3 to 5 different segments that meet the needs of your largest segments that you know are typically coming to stay with you, which can be based on many different variables. That would already, we have use cases that show that would already drive up to 80% higher conversion rate than having a menu of offers which you show to everybody. So that's massive, 80% higher conversion rate just by applying segmentation. And by the way, this is sounds very basic when we're talking about AI and a lot of incredible functionality. And while I think AI will eventually skip the segmentation, will kind of automatically do it, the fact of the matter is that most hotels don't even segment on the most basic needs today. So that's a massive opportunity that is quite low-hanging fruit. The other one is dynamic pricing. Nadine already talked about it. We launched dynamic pricing as one of the first companies in the upsell space to do this many years ago. And comparing when you have a static rate for room upgrades and early check-in, late checkout, for example, to then basically creating a dynamic price along with the rate strategy of the room. So basically how it works is if I book a standard room and I am offered a junior suite upgrade, then Oki would automatically calculate what is the difference in the best available rate, for example, from my booked room type to the available upgrade, and offer that kind of dynamic supplement for me as the upgrade offer. So by only incorporating dynamic pricing, going from static pricing to dynamic pricing, we saw a 40% uplift in room upgrade revenues. So interestingly, conversion rate actually declined somewhat because the prices were in effect more expensive, but they were also total revenue increased significantly despite that. And it just told us that having static prices when it comes to upselling anywhere across the journey is a massive amount of money being just left on the table, because most hotels have a revenue management function. So it's very important to kind of incorporate however you price your rooms should have some sort of a dynamic with how you price your ancillaries. And then, of course, on the back end of all of that, nothing really works unless you have full automation and ensuring that whatever is upsold gets pushed into the relevant systems, right departments are notified so that you ultimately are able to deliver on it. Some things are easy, like a room upgrade might not change much. It needs to be clean, but there are many ancillary services that require maybe a lot of operations. There's one crazy one in Edinburgh that is a favorite of mine, It's called Treat Me Like I'm Famous. So basically you buy an upsell offer and they treat you like a paparazzi. So when you arrive, everyone is there taking pictures of you, faking to take your autograph, and you feel like some sort of superstar. That is creating like raving fans for this hotel, and tons of positive reviews. Obviously, you could not do that without giving them ample time to prepare such an offer. So it goes both ways. But massive opportunity in summary, in segmentation, dynamic pricing, full automation, and ensuring whatever you deliver as a promise when you upsell is also what, in fact, the guest experiences on property.
Okay, well noted there as well. And same question back to you, Nadine. So personalization, I mean, Lufthansa carries, 150 to 100 million passengers every year. So how can you personalize with that number of customers?
I mean, at the end, it's about having a customer profile, and that works through loyalty, right? So the more customers are logged in, and for example, if you fly nowadays, Ryanair or Wizz Air, you have to have a customer account, which means that you automatically know how the customer is basically, or which preference the customer has at the end. So for that reason, for us, it's very crucial to understand what are the customer needs, how's the customer traveling usually, and this way it's actually possible to tailor at the end the need to the customer. However, there's still a lot of potential out there. So, I mean, especially with the technology picking up right now, especially the seamless experience with regards to ancillaries can be even more enhanced.
You're on mute again, Pablo.
As if it was the first webinar ever, yeah? Let's say stay back with you, Nadine. I have one more question for both of you about feedback. So we all understand that customer feedback is super important, and you're talking about now personalization and having the profile of the customer, knowing their preferences. So we want to link personalization with customer feedback and then ancillary. How important is that feedback, that knowing what the guest likes or dislikes when it comes to creating new upsell opportunities or new ancillary within, in your case, Lufthansa?
So for us, it's crucial to link and to understand based on customer feedback and data at the end what the customer needs and wants. And I think there are a couple of really great companies out there, like Netflix, who are already doing that. So they understand very well which of their series work well or don't. And their conversation are based pretty much around, what is the preference of the customers. And this is something that we are implementing as well, is to understand, especially after each flight, what went well, what didn't, in order to understand where to enhance the service and where to make it even more specific, tailored to the individual needs.
If you, from our perspective, it's hard. I don't know if it's different for you, Nadine, but if you think about a hotel stay, if you're sold this Treat Me Like I'm Famous deal, for example, there are many aspects about a hotel stay that might make it wonderful or horrible. Like maybe they have an amazing delivery on the upsell, but the bed wasn't clean, and then that results in like a negative overall experience. So I think from a hotel perspective, it's maybe harder to rate the overall experience of the hotel on the basis of the upsell. However, hotels will very quickly notice if they are upselling something that is then under-delivered upon. That's something that they typically will see back very quickly, and something that needs to be fixed within operations or in the promise of the actual upsell. But from our perspective, how we measure whether or not something speaks to a customer or a guest is in the conversion rate of the deal itself. So how can we adjust the tone of voice, the content, the pictures, pricing, or when we sell it, on what channel, or when we sell it in the customer journey, to really try to proactively meet the need of the guest, whatever it may be, when they have it. And then it's a matter of always ensuring that you break down silos within the hotel so that every department is well aware and part of the upsell offers that are going out to guests, so that they can really stand by on that operationally they will be able to deliver upon them. But this is really, really exciting, and this is where I think AI will take ancillary revenue and upselling certainly to the next level, where we go from a segmentation that is kind of manual or automated, but still a segmentation of a group of guests to basically a segment of one. And instead of selling one breakfast deal, I think every hotel will start to sell 15 varieties of the same deal, but it will have unique content that a guest from Brazil will respond better to a certain picture than a guest from Sweden, for example, but it's the same breakfast buffet. So that's very exciting.
Which is what you, Nadine, and the airlines have been doing for many years, right? There's hyper-personalization of prices that basically every person flying has paid a different price at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, I mean, at the end, it's, we're even advancing on the dynamic pricing topic as well. There are still opportunities out there to make it instant and to even, cluster or break down the prices even more. But that's something currently that we're already doing. And I think the biggest challenge is at the end to offer it in a seamless way. So, for example, if a flight is delayed or canceled, automatically you get a pop-up in the sense of like, your flight is delayed, you might want to wait in the lounge. Just, like proactive selling in the moment where you actually need it. And not, what a lot of airlines are doing as well is, you open this website and you have a lot of different options that maybe to that moment of time, you don't need it when you book the flight, but the moment it's canceled or delayed, you might think, oh, it might be nice now to have it. So I think it's really crucial to be here very particular in terms of timing.
And it goes back to personalization. So linked to, for example, correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, with the Oki's pre-arrival, that customers really only receive the offers and the deals that are linked to their segment. So they wouldn't get any offer that is not personalized in that sense. And it's what we were mentioning earlier, that customers are wanting more and more to live the experience and not that much buy a product or a service. So they want to have that feeling that that offer is just for them. I think you mentioned earlier, the right deal for the right customer, you said, right?
Probably. That's what I say in my sleep.
And that's the mantra of revenue, right? The right product, the right customer, right time, and so on. Yeah? All the right ones. Okay, brilliant, guys. It's 5:30 already in the Central European time. However, for different time zones in here. Thank you very much, both of you, for all the insights. I've taken notes here to think on the food for thought when it comes to ancillary revenue. Nadine Meissner, Eric Tengen, thanks a lot for your time. Let's move on to the next panel then.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Nadine.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So before we start the next one, I was sharing the landing page just to show the audience where they can find out and buy the book. Right. So again, Joe, you wrote an English and Spanish version, right?
Yeah, both available online. The Kindle one also available in English. And somebody was asking me today, like, what about the Kindle in Spanish? It's getting there. So hopefully next week it will be available for the ones who prefer the digital version. And Vasco Maria, thank you very much. Mentioned there, he already ordered the book.
Go on masteringancillaryrevenue.com and you will find out the link where to buy those books. Okay. Fantastic. All right, so let's see the next panel and get prepared. See you later.
So hello again. Thank you very much for rejoining. Alessio De Gaetano, co-founder and CRO of Dynamite. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Eric. Good afternoon, Ben. And good afternoon, Guillermo.
Thanks very much for joining. Benjamin De Vismet, VP of Sales of Quick Text.
Bonjour.
Again, bonjour. And Guillermo Gonzalez, Chief Partnership and Business Development Officer at Hotelverse. Good afternoon.
Hi, Pablo. Good afternoon.
Good to see you again. Thank you guys for joining. Thanks for, again, being part of the book. And let's go into ancillary. So we talk about untapping new ways of new source of ancillary. And here we want to talk about tech because you are heading different tech companies when it comes to the hospitality industry. And Alessio, let me start with you. So in Dynamite, you focus on enhancing F&B experiences. We're just talking about experiences now. So from the digital F&B environment, how can you influence a hotel's ancillary revenue? So you have any examples you can share?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as you said, I mean, Dynamite is at the end a digital F&B solution, and indeed, we have seen a big opportunity in the hospitality industry by helping them to boost the ancillary revenue, specifically for F&B. At the end of the day, going very to the simple point, to be honest, we have seen in the market that there is a lot of difficult, and the hotel chain, or regardless their sites, I would say, they're really struggling not only to, let's say, apply a kind of dynamic strategy or smart pricing, how we like to call it, but we have seen already a struggling in terms of information, data. So in terms of data quality in the F&B, it's very, very weak. And without this, it's very difficult to take any decision. So first of all, I think I will highlight that the need in the industry, as I said, regardless of the size, to have specific data that can help you then to leverage your decision, data-driven decision with AI or wherever. So at the end, with Dynamite, first of all, we tackled that thing, so the data, and then once you have the data, you can then apply dynamic pricing or smart pricing. Not in real time. I will not say real time. We are a little bit far from that point, but already based on demand, or based on the contribution margin, based on popularity, based on guest profile, even. Okay, so different factors that can help you to be more profitable, but also in the same time helping to increase the guest experience, to improve the guest experience. No, if you allow me to give you an example, we have a major hotel brand that is working with us. They implement Dynamite in their F&B daily operation. So we didn't just help them to identify those periods, because in a way they already know when they have high demand, low demand, or medium demand, or wherever. No, so they, in a way, they know, but they were missing some piece of information that combined with the data, they help basically to increase that optimization by applying that smart decision. And I'm talking not just of pricing, because when I'm referring to smart decision, I also talk about maybe the way you can change the menu based on your segmentation, based on your customer nationality. So you have a lot of things. So this has at the end increased the revenue of the optimization. For example, talking about a 12 or 15%. And when we look at not only that, but we also are able to increase the turnover in the table management, and also reducing at the end the food waste. That is very important. And this is maybe they save like an 8% on operational costs. So this is everything aligned, not only with the price, but everything. So from the data standpoint, till the final, let's say, the final output, that is the pricing or the menu configuration.
So lots to do, as you say, in the F&B area, it's a bit behind when it comes to revenue management and rooms. Benjamin, going back to you, AI chatbots and customer communication tools. So all these different technologies are coming now to interact with humans, let's put it like that. Can they, okay, quick text, of course, can they help drive up revenue for hotels?
Well, they can be a help, but what you need to think really is about like the demand. So I will always, like in every answer, I will think of two factors. I will think about the existing demand, so the pull from customers, and the push, which is what you can, let's say, feed to the customer at a specific point of time, which was one of the topics that was discussed earlier. Okay, so in terms of pool, okay, hotels are not so used to listening to their customers and being able to react to their demand in real time. Okay, and that's where virtual assistants help. Okay, so in essence, without any effort, you have many people that will spontaneously go and ask for a specific service. I mean, one that is very famous is, for example, the airport transfer, the room upgrade, or even like the birthday cake. Like, it's very strange how many people are asking for a virtual assistant. Let's say I'm your grandmother, you're staying at the hotel, I want a birthday cake for my grandson that is staying at this hotel. Okay, so you have a lot of let's say auto-generated demands. Okay, and the challenge many times is, one, how do you channel that demand? Okay, across different channels, because it's fine that someone has a need, but they can express this need via Facebook, via WhatsApp, via Instagram, via Booking.com, via phone, via whatever they want. Okay, so how do you channel this and you transform it into something operational? And point number two, and it's quite crazy, okay, but more and more, because part of my job is reviewing chatbot conversations, I see people asking for airport transfer while they're already at the airport. So we have a challenge of delivery as well. Okay, time to resolution becomes more and more critical, because I could even see, customers that were getting like a rage because like the system told them, well, to book an airport transfer, you have to send a message to this email 3 days in advance. So the chatbot helps channel. The chatbot can help structuring processes, but there needs to be an ecosystem that supports like the delivery. Okay, so I want to place a quick disclaimer. It's not because you have a virtual assistant that will magically boost your ancillary revenue. It's part of a global package, but if you want to achieve something, virtual assistants can help, as long as you have the proper infrastructure, which is technology and processes within your organization, to enable the finding and delivering of your upsell. Then the second thing you need to have is a proper inventory. I think that's something that was discussed also earlier, but many hotels do not. I mean, you can think about chatbot, but if you don't have a formalized place where you have your shop for upsell opportunities, well, it's not going to work very well. I mean, it's going to work, but you are going to miss opportunities. Okay, so when you think about putting a chatbot, think that it is the thing that will remove friction, but you need to have the basic, which is the let's say inventory. Okay, and then you need to think about how this process is going to be delivered to the customer. How, like, is it going to be an email notification sent to the staff? Chatbots are able to do that. Is it going to be a ticket sent to a task management system? Also able to do that? Or is it going to be, let's say, a note inside the PMS? Okay, for this, you need to think of a solution like Oki that, because it's a full job, okay, it's really easy on the front end to take a request for upsell, but it's a very difficult job to connect to a PMS, and that is why there are companies that specialize in that. So if you want to do upsell, it's a whole package that you need. Then, and I'm sorry, I will stop, okay? But you need to think about the push as well, okay? So push is, well, customers have mobile phones, okay? They have customer data, so you can target them pretty much like the lady from Lufthansa mentioned. You can send push campaigns, so I will not expand too much on this. Basically, you need PMS or CDP or CRM to feed data to something that will push templates to WhatsApp or SMS that will arrive at a specific point in time to a specific audience. This was already covered. Small disclaimer: if your message as a customer, you wouldn't like to receive it, don't send it. I mean, many people send garbage. It's common sense. If you wouldn't like to receive the message you're sending, do not send it. And point number two, if the average value generation of the message you're sending is inferior to 2 euros, don't send it, because a WhatsApp or an SMS push message is going to cost you 9 cents. Okay, not because I said, because Mark Zuckerberg says it, or because the guy, whoever it is that manages SMS worldwide, says it. okay, Twilio, for example. Okay, so message that you send have a cost, and they're going to be read. Don't waste your audience. So if on average you don't have €2 value per message, just don't send it. Okay, and remember there are data protection laws. Okay, so make sure you're covered in terms of GDPR.
Thanks, Benji. Very comprehensive answer. And about the GDPR, but now we have a new law in Spain that asks you for 42 different points of information when you check in a hotel, which is crazy. Let's see how that goes. Guillermo, thanks for waiting. Your turn. Hotelverse specializes in virtual and immersive experiences. So I'd like you to tell us more about that virtual environment and how that can enhance ancillary revenue for hotels.
Well, first of all, the first thing that I want to highlight is the importance of why we're speaking about immersive experiences here at Hotelverse and how they're linked to generating ancillary revenue. And the reason for this is that I believe that nowadays in our society, in many aspects, we're seeing the merge between the physical and the digital world. And what this means is that those experiences that users have been demanding traditionally in the physical world, they're also going to be starting to demand them digitally. And we try to give an answer to this, what we do, and I don't want to get too deep into what we do, but very briefly, we create the digital twin of the hotel, which is basically a 3D hyper-realistic replica. The idea behind this is that the first moment when a user is going to be in touch with you, with the hotel, is going to be when they come into your website, a digital environment. So, when traditionally the interaction between your product and your potential consumer has been, through pictures, through videos, we try to go one step on top of this, and we allow the user to actually have this immersive experience with the digital twin and check around all the facilities, all the surroundings of the hotel. You can turn it all around, you can go upwards, you can go downwards, you can see everything of the hotel, and of course you can see the rooms of the hotel. And this is where it gets interesting, because again, traditionally distribution for hotels has been centered on distributing room categories, right? I sell room categories. But if you think about it, a room category is no more that the fact that you have rooms which have different characteristics, different attributes, which users, your customers, are going to find more valuable, some of those attributes, and are willing to pay more to have them in the room. But of course, you cannot have 30, 40 different, 50 different room categories, because it's going to confuse the consumer. It's not going to deliver a clear message, and probably you're not going to be able to leverage all of that category mix in order to have an optimal revenue generation. But what we do at Hotelverse is that we actually allow the customer to select the exact room that they want to stay on. And this is key, because it's not, you're not offering a long list of room categories, but you're actually, through a digital twin, allowing the consumer to browse the exact room that they want to stay on. And you can price that room selection to generate more revenue and to increase the ADR of that room category that you originally sold. And the second component, which is very important around this, is that it empowers the personalization of the user. Because, people in and around technology have been, now we say AI, right? But before, we've been quite obsessed with the term personalization. And I think that we turn personalization a bit the other way around. Typically, we approach personalization by trying to guess what the user wants and give it to him. And what we do is that we give an open book to the customer for them to be able to build their own personalization on what they want.
on importance of personalization in there, which seems to be the main topic we're discussing this afternoon. Alessio, going back to you, and we're talking about technology here. So obviously, Dynamite is a great technology tool for F&B. More and more hotels are incorporating in their restaurant. They want to have want their customers to enjoy an experience, dining experience in there, and data. You're coming from revenue, obviously, data is key. It's the goal of the 21st century, as some people say. How can data have a role, or does data have a role when it comes to designing menus, when it comes to creating the next dish to be presented on the menu?
Yeah, I mean, AI, or as you said, or data analytics at the end are the game changer to personalize everything. And it was also said by Guillermo on Hotelverse, about the room type or the segmentation. For me, really, in the revenue, I think segmentation is one of the most important pillar of the revenue management. But at the end of the day, when you are able to analyze data that are, for example, the booking history, or the preference of the customer, or even the hotel, the in-destination activity, or wherever, hotels are able to craft dining experience. Okay. And Dynamite, what is allowing you at the end of the day is to take this a step further, by incorporating, for example, real time or data decision into your decision process. At the end of the day, to offer a menu that it doesn't have to be like to increase price, but also you can do, for example, specific offers, or specific adaptation to your menu based on specific customer. Also, they help the operation, for instance. For example, one of our customer that used the platform at the end. And it was about the room type that was telling Guillermo before. I believe if you analyze, and now we are working a lot with the room dining right now. So when you have a digital menu that also when you can order, for example, you can place your order directly and scan the QR code, access to the menu, and directly place your order. We are now analyzing with data what is the consumption by room type, because there is a difference pattern sometimes that you can discover by the deep. So what I mean is a suite consuming the same of entry-level room? The answer can be yes or no. So, but with data now, you can analyze that pattern and see if maybe you need to adapt with the new menu, or you need to have a different menu per room type. And the step further that we want to do, we are already doing this, but the step further that we want to go is basically by connecting to the POS, to the PMS, because we are already connected to the POS. If we are able to have the segmentation in place, so if we know that specific room type is going to have a corporate and the other room type is going to have a transient, these two customers are they have a different way to access, to see the menu. Maybe they want the different things. So you can personalize that experience. So it's not only in the restaurant, but also in the in-room dining, for example, where you have a lot of information. But going, for example, to the hotel, to the restaurant, imagine that the hotel has confirmed a big group where your that specific nationality, they are going to have a very massive consumption, a specific product or wherever, and you are able to change or adapt the menu based on that specific groups. So at the end of the day, it's not just the way you need to optimize, let's say, the menu item or wherever, but also how you can have an impact on the operational side. And that is for me the real game changer. And one thing that Benjamin really take the point is really important to have the connection in place, because if you are able to have a menu, of course, online, and we are able to create a digital menu wherever. But if this menu is not connected properly with the POS, that I can tell you is at least 20, 30 years behind PMS, you can really struggling to have those pricing completely update and everything completely aligned, and you can have a lot of complaint if you are not with the right technology. So indeed, the challenge today is whenever a customer want to go digital or want to have some platform to go digital, they really need to make sure that those platform they can connect with other technology, or the technology is able to connect with those POSs, because it's key to have the right strategy in place.
Mm-hmm. Which comes with the evolution of technology, and that's why I wanted to speak about with Benjamin. I mean, machine learning, AI. Not sure exactly which one is the real one behind most technology, but from your point of view, and you know a lot about this, how can machine learning and AI, if that's the case, have an impact on the customer experience and therefore on the increased revenue spent at a hotel?
Well, basically, as I said, the role of AI, because machine learning is a process that enables AI. Okay, so let's try to not be too specific, but the idea is to make a service available to customers at a specific time. Okay, on top of what Eric and the girl from Lufthansa, sorry, I forgot the name, said. Okay, so just like copy paste what they said, but I'd like to go one step down. Because you see, AI, technology in general are just means, okay? And in the next few years, yes, you will have more and more means. You will have better and better virtual assistant. You will have better and better ability to segment or to trigger messages. That's fantastic. You will have better and better inventories. So, for example, Oki has a great inventory. What I wish they do is that they would add the possibility to pay. I don't know if it's part of their plan. I know other technologies such as Hoteligy that are a little bit younger, but that have this ability to pay. That's very interesting, because you can have the best chatbot in the world. If at the end you can't put a credit card there, what's the point, So the idea is, before you think about AI or whatever, think about your strategy, okay? Before adding AI to your mix, start where you are. Identify the low-hanging fruits, okay? And if you have no technology, actually there are things for you that you can imagine. I think, Pablo, as well as I do, Deep Upsell, which is a Spanish technology actually that help people do face-to-face upsell, So even if you have no technology and just a receptionist, you can take steps to improve the ability to upsell of the receptionist. So before you go to the next plus ultra in terms of technology, make sure that you start where you are and you improve from where you are. Okay, don't do AI just because your neighbor is doing AI, because he might be doing it wrong. Okay, the second thing that you want to do before you use AI, and I think a very good value for money, is you want to give incentives to your staff, because you can have all the hotels are usually paying very, reluctant to pay technology. They are even more reluctant to pay for people. So if you want people to sell, you need to pay them. Okay. If you don't do that, your results will be mitigated. So once you have the right basics, then start building little by little. And on the blog that AI is about, it's about removing friction and making sure that the right offer arrives to the right customer. Okay, so nothing to add to that. We don't have the time, but please, before you think about going to the moon, make sure you have a strong and firm holding.
Thanks a lot. Removing friction there. Taking notes on your comments. Guillermo, last question here for you for this series, and then I'll have a quick one for all of you. Going back to your product and service, like we're talking about the virtual experience for customer, and it's going to be on pre-arrival, obviously. So are there any type of experiences that guests prefer more, or any sort of features from rooms or from resorts that are the most popular, that are the ones that get most attention from customers?
Sure. So, to be honest, I don't have a true answer for this. And I want to share an example with you that I think exemplifies this very much, because we tend to, try to understand the customer and apply logic and apply technology to understand the customer. But, every single human being is different, and they are always capable of surprising us. And an example of this is that, in our service of room selection, there are obviously some attributes which are typically more demanded. So, for example, if we look into a leisure resort, well, rooms which are on higher floors, typically, being on a higher floor or being on the corner. So the location of the room, based on where the building is one of the hot attributes for which customers are willing to pay extra for that room selection. But we had one customer, which is a very family vacational hotel. It's actually here in Mallorca, and the building is a very tall building. It's like 12 stories high. Huge hotel. And when we were defining the pricing logic together with the hotel, we assumed that the most demanded rooms were the ones who were on superior floors, but they actually told us that the most demanded rooms were the ones which were at the first level. And this was because lots of families came in with their small kids, and they were actually afraid that the kids were going to fall from the balcony. So, we would have never thought about this logic, but, it really helped us to then apply the optimized pricing strategy to capture that value. So, my take here is that we always need to pay close attention to the specifics of every hotel, and also have the assumption that every customer is different. So they're probably going to want something different.
Which leads us back to personalization. If everybody's different, it's because we want to personalize the experience. Almost gonna be there on reach the time limit. We want to keep it on time. So one quick question for all of you, and we can continue the order. So Alessio, Benjamin, and then Guillermo. And going back to what Benjamin said earlier, hotels, they find it challenging to invest in people and also in technology. So what will be the first thing you mention to a hotel, to a restaurant, depending on the business, that should be the main thing they have in mind when they should invest in technology? So besides the cost of the tool, but what is going to be the top advantage for them? What is going to be the quickest win or ROI point for the business? So in your case, Alessio, why should they invest in technology?
I mean, they should invest in technology because they want to improve their process internally, because they have a challenge. So I believe first things they need to identify the challenge. I'm agree with Ben. Before go and maybe invest in a tool that is maybe too advanced for you. Maybe it's first important to get the basic right. And as I said, for me, it's when I start this, I really seen a lot of struggling in the data quality, regardless dynamic. Okay, so I believe first you need to have the first things right, and then of course if you see that there is an opportunity, because there is an opportunity, of course, about the dynamic pricing. We have said a lot here, personalization, so on. Indeed, when you invest in technology, you can streamline process. It's not just about increasing price, but it's also about doing things better, being able to be more aligned with what the customer is looking for. So technology can help you, yes, but technology can sink you if you are not able to use in the proper way. You don't have the right also people to do that.
Okay, so I'll stick with the improving processes will be the takeaway from your answer. Benjamin, why should hotels invest in technology?
Because if they don't, their competitor will do it for them.
Okay, stay in the race.
Why should you breathe? So the question is, some people I really wonder, okay? But the idea is guests are often more evolved than the hotels. You can say that the customer is crazy because he wants to order a same-day transfer, from the airport. But in fact, it's a hotel problem to have logistics that is not able to accommodate that, because we are moving from a product-centric environment where the producer of a good or service was holding all the power, to a place where actually the customer is the center, and whatever the customer is asking, regardless how crazy it can sound, is actually what you have to do. Okay, so if you have if you have your grandmother that wants to send you flowers or a birthday cake, she should be able to do that. No questions asked. If you have demand for that, you should accommodate the demand. Because if you have someone that is a shop that is not accommodating the demand, what happens to this shop? End of story.
Okay. From product centric to service centric, and if you don't invest on technology, your competitor will. Thanks a lot, Benji. Guillermo, from your end, why should hotels invest on the latest technology?
Well, a bit on line with what Ben said, which I couldn't agree more, of that transition that we're experiencing around customers. But it's basically to make their life easier and their job easier. I think that the technology in general, it's empowering all industries and all workers to leave behind anything that is around, manual tasks. And allow technology to take care of that for us, and for us to just empower all of our creativity in order to satisfy better our customers.
Okay, to increase satisfaction for everyone, both hotel and customers.
Just one thing, technology is a big word, so do not invest in any technology. Take your time, make it at your own pace. There are many technologies. You have to understand first what is right for you before you invest in anything.
Yeah, which also, as you mentioned, agreeing with you. Perfect. Enzo is there on the screen, means that we have to finish now. Alessio, Benjamin.
No, I mean, I'm there just to support you guys, but you can continue the conversation.
No, I want to stick to the
if
time.
you ask me why hotels should invest in technology, I was thinking there are so many travel technology companies out there. We have to sustain this industry, guys. Otherwise, they shut down.
But going to that point, actually, it can be confusing. I understand that from some hotel specialists, like smaller independent, that they don't really have that level of technology. Having that many different companies, that sort of difficult ecosystem of different tools, it can be daunting for some hotels. I understand.
Yeah, but anyway, today is much more democratized. I mean, everything is affordable. I remember 20 years ago when you were looking to invest in channel management or in revenue management, there were only few providers with super high price, and this was accessible only to large organizations like global chain, big corporation and so on. But now everything is accessible. It's democratized. Actually, there are free tools that provide, the basic freemium version, so you can start to play and try and so anyway,
good. So we'll leave it here with that items about the why should we invest in technology. Again, Alessio, Benjamin, and Guillermo, thank you very much for your time. Also, as I mentioned earlier, Eric and Nadine, thank you for your time as well. Hopefully it was insightful, some ideas about ancillary revenue. That's all for now. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Enzo.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys. So here we are at the end. So thank you, everyone, and I wish you had a good time. You enjoyed, and guys, buy the book from Pablo, and talk to you very soon. Bye bye.